Welcome on Texas football. It's time for the breakdown, brought to you by Bingham's Bourbon. Rod Babers, CJ Vogel here alongside Bobby Burton. We're going to talk a little Texas football versus Florida this coming weekend. We're going to break down the Texas offense versus the Florida defense, the Texas defense against that Florida Gator offense, as well as special teams, and then deliver you our score predictions. Rod Babers, former Longhorn, former NFL player. Let's start with the Texas offense going up against that Gator defense. What are some of the keys to this game and some of the stats you're looking at prior to the contest?
Yeah, I think for Florida is, can they generate enough pressure when Texas decides to throw the football? Can they put pressure on Arch Manning? I mean, this is kind of some eye-popping numbers. 134th in sacks. They only got 3 sacks. That's spread out between 4 different players, all of them on the edge. 121st in tackles for loss. Only 9 teams have fewer tackles for loss, so they don't force a lot of negative plays. Now, that's good for Texas because for Texas, that means, whether it be in the run game or whether you're talking about protecting Arch Manning, you should be right now at an advantageous position going up against Florida. Also, something I think that is concerning, or at least something that should be a factor, a lot of talk about the weather. And whether it's going to, rain, it could get some sloppy play, or at least you could get some sloppy field. If that is the case for Texas in the run game, as it always is, especially when you're going on the road, that's going to be really important for Texas. Now, whether you get Trey Wisner back, that's a big part of it as well. A lot of optimism that Trey Wisner will be available for Texas. If that is the case, you should be able to forge an identity in the run game, and that should be able to help you if it is indeed going to be a sloppy field. But this is a bend but don't break defense for Florida. Don't give them a lot of explosive plays. If you're looking at 10-plus yard and 20-plus yard plays allowed from scrimmage, they are 15th and 22nd overall. So actually pretty good in limiting explosive plays. So for Texas, I know Sark at times wants to get greedy, and he's going to really want that big chunk yardage play. And I think there will be a time for it, but you don't necessarily want to rush that. And if you're in Texas, you don't want to act too hasty when it comes to exploiting those big plays. I think you can actually work your way down the field and execute. Now, penalties are going to be big. You don't want to hurt yourself, but I think Texas can put together and extend long drives against Florida to put points on the board. Now, they may have to be field goals at times. That's another thing Sark may have to consider going up against this Florida defense. They are 50th, or actually 47th in red zone defense, 36th in third down defense. So in some of those critical areas where Texas has been struggling, they're actually above average.
Yeah. CJ, you have any thoughts about this matchup?
Yeah, I'm with Rod there. I like that point about taking the points, and especially given what the weather might be in this game. We don't know, but it's Florida. It's turning into the fall. Shower could come at any moment. But I'm looking at it like this. Rod, you mentioned they are bend but don't break. I think that fits them to a T defensively. Opponents have had 10 red zone trips this year. Only 4 have resulted in touchdowns. 4 have resulted in field goals as well. So look, they're pretty even split there, but we've talked about it for a few weeks now. Texas, since the beginning of 2023, 26-2 when they score 21 or more points. And with the way that this Florida offense is looking, I think any point gets you closer to that mark, closer to a point in which Florida may not be able to overcome. On top of that, and we'll talk about this a little bit later in special teams, but penalty is going to be a big factor in this game. Florida right now the second fewest in the SEC, Texas the second most. So can that bridge be crossed a little bit for the Longhorns, and that a little bit narrow of a deficit, especially on the road in these SEC games? That's going to be very important.
One of the questions I have for both you guys, Texas not great on third down on offense.
No.
Florida and Texas both very good on third down defense right now, both ranked in the top 10. So, Rod, when you sit there and say, hey, they're going to have to move the ball down the field with some consistency, well, Florida's defense would tell you that's really hard to do against them. If they're top 10 in defense or in third down percentage, what are your thoughts on Texas's ability to do that and actually execute like that? Because it's not been something they've really done all that well this season, other than against Sam Houston State.
Well, maybe the hope would be that Sark has indeed kept some of his more creative, exotic, critical down concepts. Maybe he's kind of kept them under wraps until now. I think Sark was asked about whether they were holding something back, and he said he didn't think of it as holding back, just they've established some foundation on all sides of the ball in all three phases. So my hope would be that Sark has kind of called up, as the young folks will say, he's got some bangers ready for those third downs and those third and longs, and in the red zone, critical areas maybe it's different personnel groupings. Maybe it's just, Sark using more of his hacks and cheat codes. So I think Sark could actually help them a lot in keeping those drives alive. And I think a lot of it will have to do on critical downs. Now, you can stay out of third and longs situations by making sure you win on early downs. That's why I think the running game is going to be big for Texas. You win on early downs, on first and second. I think I think that Florida will give that to you, honestly. I think they'll give you a lot of those early down wins because they are a bend but don't break defense that wants to situate themselves in a critical point, right? At a critical point, whether it be third and long or whether it be in the red zone. And that's when they really want to bow their back and break out some of their more exotic, aggressive concepts and make plays. So if you're Texas, you either want to stay out of those situations if you can. And when you are in those situations, you better make sure that you have enough creativity or you can go deeper into your bag to be able to break tendency potentially when needed to.
All right, guys, how many points y'all think Texas scores against this Florida defense? I mean, if y'all thought about that, like just putting yourselves through it in the reality of it, what kind of figure are y'all thinking about right now in that regard? CJ?
I'm in the mid-20s.
Okay.
And again, I don't know how they get there. If it's 3 touchdowns and a field goal, if it's 2 touchdowns and a lot of field goals, I don't know. But look, I like the way and the direction that this Texas offense is moving. And if that run game shows up and it forces Florida to come out of that too high shell, that's when things can really open up for the Longhorns. So it's very dependent upon what type of early down success Texas has in that run game.
What about you, Rod? Where do you how many points you think Texas is going to score? What range?
I do. I'm with TJ. Actually, I have them. I think I have them around right under 30. So I think 28, 27 is what I'm thinking right now. But I do think, it's going to be important how Sark attacks, third downs, because we know Sark is he'll go for it. He's aggressive. He's a riverboat gambler for fourth down situations. How he attacks it on the road, and of course in the red zone, taking the points, right, instead of having that aggressive nature. So that balance for Sark, I think, is going to be big in this game. But I got him at like 28 or 27. I haven't decided which one yet. Somewhere.
All right, we'll go to Texas defense next. CJ, you'll be up. But first, we need to tell folks about Bingham's Bourbon, Texas Bourbon. Rod, please do us the honor.
Thank you, and thank you to Ryan Bingham, the Grammy and Oscar-winning artist who decided to support On Texas football. For years, Ryan turned down offers to just put his name on any bottle. No, instead, he insisted that he wanted a bourbon that he could be proud of and one that stayed true to his Texas roots and where the music comes from. That's why he built Bingham's from the ground up, a Texas-certified whiskey made with 100% Texas-grown grains, distilled and aged in the searing Texas climate for a bold, unmistakable flavor. From the hands of local Texas farmers to the barrel to the glass, every drop is a tribute to the land, the craft, and the people who shape it. Bingham's Bourbon, proof that Texas makes a damn good bourbon. Available now across the great state of Texas. And you can find details at binghamspirits.com. That's binghamspirits.com.
All right, CJ, we're going to go back to you now and talk a little defense. Texas defense has been outstanding thus far. How do you see them stacking up against that Florida offense?
Yeah, I think this is a favorable matchup for the Texas defense. Of course, I think anybody who's played Florida so far would look back and say it's been a favorable matchup for their defense against this offense, right? Only 10 points scored against LSU, only 7 against Miami. Those are both 2 really talented teams, but I think Texas is up there with a talented team, talented defense as well. It's really interesting because when DJ Lagway hit the field for the first time a year ago, there was some magic in his game. The deep ball was there. He had some crazy plays where he was evading sacks, extending plays down the field, and the explosive pass was there. It's not there in 2025. We've talked about it for about a week now, given the bye, but out of 148 quarterbacks, in terms of how many pass attempts, what the percentage of their pass attempts extend beyond 20 yards downfield, out of 148, DJ Lagway ranks 148th. Only 5.7 pass attempts extend beyond 20 yards down the field. They condense themselves willingly. Now, this is where things get interesting because Dallas Wilson, 5-star freshman wide receiver, will be making his debut. And if you go back to the spring, he lit the spring game on fire. He had 10 receptions for 196 yards, 2 touchdowns. He's a big play waiting to happen. Yet is that big play in the bag for the Gators? The other thing is this: Florida right now with the 3rd worst mark in the SEC in terms of yards coming after contact. About 73% of their yards come after contact. That offensive line not creating a whole lot of running lanes for Jaden Ball, who right now sits 3rd in the SEC in missed tackles for. So big-time running back for the Florida Gators, but not a lot of running ability, and that just muddies up the water for a team that doesn't extend the field and challenge defenses vertically.
What are you thinking, Rod?
No, it's I'm with him. It's honestly, to me, one of the biggest mysteries in college football this year is the curious case of DJ Lagway and what's happening. I went and looked it up. And last season, to CJ's point, his X-Man ability was his deep ball. He was 4th among quarterbacks in completion percentage on deep passes, 20 yards or more. He was his 3rd in Pro Football Focus grade on deep passes last season. Deep ball rate, he was 18%. And I thought, oh man, he can force you to have to defend every blade of grass, every dimension of the football field at any given moment because of that arm talent. And this year, it's just not the case. To CJ's point, they've shied away from it. This is my thing about DJ Lagway. Let's talk about him from a clean pocket really quickly. Mm-hmm. When the pocket is clean, all right? We're talking about this is the best possible ideal circumstance for a quarterback, clean pocket. These are his stats in a clean pocket. He's got 5 interceptions. That is the most for any quarterback in college football, tied for the most interceptions from a clean pocket. He is 142nd out of a possible 150 quarterbacks in turnover-worthy play rate out of a clean pocket, 5.8%. His Pro Football Focus passing grade is 131st out of 150 quarterbacks, 63 from a clean pocket. Offensive grade, 62, 134th out of 150 quarterbacks. You get the point. He's not even performing well from a clean pocket, let alone giving pressure. So
what do you think it is? You've watched him a little bit.
It could be that he is dealing with injuries. I mean, this is kind of going back to the Arch conspiracy. Like, what was wrong with Arch? Yeah. Like, he got to be hurt. He got to be hurt to be looked like that. So maybe it's an injury. Maybe, and we know he has dealt with some injuries, so it could be the injuries. I don't watch enough of him. I have watched him lately. This past week, but I just think he is seeing ghosts at this point. Almost like he's got QB TSD. Where you know what I mean? Like he's seeing goals. Like I said, this is from a clean pocket, guys. He's throwing picks, and when guys are open, he's missing them. So, and by the way, the receivers, I kind of like some of their receivers. Yeah. Right, Burnell Brown, the freshman, he's a good looking player for them. And they got Eugene Wilson, and so they have the tight end Hayden. We know Jaden Ball is a player almost averaging 6 yards per carry. If they can get DJ Lagway to start playing just above average football, because right now he's playing below average football, they are dangerous because the offensive line is not terrible. They just are not the strength and the asset that they thought they would be going into. They thought this would be the best O-line in the SEC. It ain't.
Yeah. Yeah, it's interesting listening to you guys because it's almost like Florida feels a little bit like Texas prior to the Sam Houston game. Like they were waiting for it to happen. We'll see what happens in Gainesville on Saturday. Special teams. I want to go to there, and then we're going to do the score prediction, guys. Texas has been good in special teams overall this year. I think. Moving away from Warren Roberson as a blocker likely helps Texas not have as many penalties on special teams, and their net yardage and punting is going to be better. They've been good on kick offs, not necessarily kick returns. And Mason Shipley hasn't missed a kick as a Longhorn. Do we think Texas has the advantage in special teams here, or has Florida been pretty good, CJ?
Yeah, I think it's pretty close. Texas, for its punt return game, still has left a lot of yards on the field there. The kicking factor in a game like this, I'll give to Texas, right? Mason Shipley, 5 of 5 so far this year. Florida, only 6 of 9 on field goal attempts this season. Again, in SEC play, especially on the road, if you're going to be taking points, you'd like that consistency. And if you're Florida trying to find any point that you can find at this point, considering where your offense is standing, I can't imagine going in with a 67% attempts made percentages is where they want to be at the moment. Altogether, Texas needs to tighten up a little bit of the penalties on special teams as well. They've been hit there consistently this season.
Rod, what do you think about Texas special teams here?
I think they've been good. I would say that they actually is one of the areas where Florida believes they may have, an advantage. Is it Tommy Doman? He's got 17 punts. He's got 6 of those inside the 20. His long has been 63. He's not a bad punter at all. I mean, he's averaging 46, over 46 yards per punt. Bowmeister's averaging 46 and a half. Now he's got 5 inside the 20, so a good punter. I don't know. I know we don't care about long snappers, but this guy, Rocco Underwood, he won the McNally Award, which nobody knows what the hell that is. But it's the nation's best long snapper. I know, crazy. And so he's the second team All SEC, I believe, going to the preseason. So he's their kicker. I mean, he's okay. He actually had a terrible start to the season, but has been, I think, 6 of 6 since the start of the season. He missed his first 2 or 3 field goals. So special teams for that. I think Texas has the advantage. It'll be all about the coverage, essentially. And I don't know if Florida has great coverage. We'll see if Ryan Nibley can take advantage of it and Texas can take advantage of it in their return game.
Yeah, I was going to add
on a wet field, by the way, in the return game. I mean, that's going to be huge. All right. Did you want to add anything there, CJ?
I was going to say Florida right now through 4 games actually leads the SEC in punt returns of 20 yards or more. They have 5. So to your point, Rod, coverage is going to be key for the Longhorns and for those Gunners especially.
That's Vernell Brown, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
Right? There was freshmen. I think he's returning punts for him too.
Yep. Gotcha. He's the big play guy that CJ was talking about, or that you were talking about, Rod, as a wide receiver. All right. Score predictions. Y'all both said Texas would end up somewhere in the 20s here, but I didn't ask you where Florida would end up. So Rod Babers, I'm going to let you start and give us your prediction for this game.
Oh, that's good. Florida's offense is struggling, but they have athletes, and they had a bye week, so you got a long time to game plan. I'm going to give Florida some credit. I'm going to go Texas 27-10. 27.
Wow. Okay. The line's 6.5. The line's 6.5 right now, I believe. Yeah. CJ, what do you got?
Yeah, I'm going to hug that line a little bit closer. I have Texas right now 24-16. I think this is one in which Florida takes any point they can, and that's a lot of field goals. I think, again, with the way Lagway's been playing, I think it's going to be very difficult for them to trot down the field consistently. Yeah. I think he'll also turn the ball over a few times, given what we've seen this season as well. But also, tough situation for the weather as well. I think you're going to look at it and say maybe there's a little bit more aggression. I know I'm contradicting myself just a little bit, but 24-16, I think Texas escapes with their first SEC victory this year.
All right, here's mine. This is comes on the heels of talking with Bob Shipley and Coach Brian Irwin on Lunch with the Coach. I'm going 20-14. I'm going 20-14, and I think it's going to be a really tight game. But in what I meant by going with those two coaches, they talked about it on Tuesday's Lunch with the Coach. Texas has to be, and Sark, have to be willing to win ugly. If you're going to get through this SEC, you're going to have to win ugly at times, especially on the road, and that means taking field goals when you can get them, playing keep away from the other team a little bit, just moving the ball and keeping your defense in good shape. I'm going to go 20-14. Hopefully, Arch Manning protects the ball more than DJ Lagway. I think that whoever of the 2 quarterbacks protects the ball better is going to come out the victor, because I do think there's going to be a defensive score in this game. There's just too much in it on both sides, and the offenses from both teams have struggled just enough. And we'll see how it goes. But I've got the Longhorns 20-14. That's right on the line, too, you'll notice, by the way.
Right on it.
I'm taking Vegas' advice. Y'all know how that is. All right, Rod, you had 27-10, a Texas win. CJ 24-16, and I'm 20-14. All right, that's going to do it for the Bingham's Bourbon Breakdown. We appreciate Ryan Bingham and the crew there. You can get it anywhere in the state of Texas. You guys have a good one. Hook 'em horns.
Okay.